Hi. First of all, thanks everybody. Thanks to everybody for coming so early to this market here. So this is Team East Coast, and we are happy to be here because this is the fifth time that the Workers' Party will be contesting in this East Coast GRC, and we are building upon the hard work of so many volunteers and past candidates, and particularly in the last 5 years. I mean, I know the previous candidates and many of the volunteers, and they have been really working very hard, working on the ground several times a week, yeah, for the last 5 years. And personally, I'm also happy to be here because the new East Coast GRC boundaries contain where I have lived and studied in for all my life. Yeah, for all my primary schools to kindergarten, primary schools to college. So I can take questions now.
Mr. Yee, you have met quite a few Marine Parade residents during your walkabout. So, what have they feedback to you? Yeah.
Okay, firstly, for Marine Parade, I contested there the last two rounds. So, and after that, many have invested a lot of time among our volunteers, Nathaniel especially. So, um, I think I met many, of course, they would like to vote, but I've also met many who actually told us that they can understand why we did it and they will continue to support us. And I really say a big thank you to all these residents.
Was it your idea to head to Marine Parade in the first place, given your hard work in Juche at SMC?
I guess we are prize takers. So, I mean, when Juche disappeared in 2015, it was no longer there. So, what could I do? I've been working Juche for 5 years. So, yes, I contested Marine Parade. I'm very happy with the teams that have been there since. And I'm particularly happy that, for example, Herting Ru is now an MP. Yeah, so I think we just build on whatever is there. So whatever is given to us, we make the best of the situations. So we decided to come to East Coast. We will be very focused on East Coast.
There has been some unhappiness among the opposition parties. It came up during the rallies yesterday that there could be better communication, especially with Mr. Pritam Singh as the incumbent leader of the opposition. Do you have any comments on?
I will leave Pritam to answer this.
Mr. Yee, one thing concerning here. So the teams you've led in the past few elections have seen some incremental gains over the past election cycles. And have you done anything possibly different to get you over the line this year?
We always believe in doing our best, and we offer a good slate of candidates. And I would say that yesterday during at the rally, I ended by saying I have a new team. I love this team. Why? Because I find that there are people with full of passion, willing to roll up their sleeves to get things done. I've gotten to know them over the even getting ready for this campaign. Their own life stories tell you of how they've overcome struggles, and so we are very confident. We are very confident that if we are elected in, we will run this estate well. We will give our very best, and if I may borrow the phrase from Mr. Andre Lau, okay, that will be a present MP. We'll be present MPs. We'll be here on the ground to get things done.
Right, but Mr. Yee, do you feel confident with your chances against the KAP's team with political odds?
I would say that we can do what we can. We will leave it to the residents. We know that every time we come against a PAP, it's always very difficult. You looked at me, I've been through this 3 times before. Every time, whether you feel confident or not, in the end, it's the voters who decide, and we'll respect their choice, whatever their choice are. But we really want to appeal to the residents. Please do give this team a chance. You listen to them, listen to their stories, listen to how they have overcome many things to be here today, even having to quit their jobs that they have worked so hard for, just to be your voice in Parliament, to be your representative for this estate. So please do give them a chance.
So about yourself, your personal reason for coming back to politics, maybe you can share before that?
Well, as everybody know that I've announced my retirement from active politics. Not that I've left the party. I continue to be active in the party. if I borrow the word that I quoted in my book Journey in Blue that I wrote to after I finished the last election, that the old soldiers don't die, they just fade away. So that was my intention, to be there to help where I can. But General MacArthur himself, he actually retired twice. The first time round, when he retired, he went to the Philippines and he was familiar with the Asia territory, Philippines particular. And when America was called to war, was dragged into the war, MacArthur came back. In a way, I felt that I can contribute here because I know this place very well. There are about 40,000 residents from Juche and from Chai Chi that have been moved into East Coast. So you think about it, more than a quarter of East Coast residents are actually from the Marine Parade area, which we have also worked very hard. So I will contribute whatever I can to the team because I feel that they are a very good team that deserves a chance.
Mr. Yee, maybe one also.
I was wondering if we could ask Pritam a question.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
Jane from SEO.
Yes.
How last night the turnout at your first rally seems to be, I mean, the police were called in. So can we get like your reaction to the turnout and what you're reading into it?
The police were there. I think they are there at all the rallies, so they don't need to be called in. So they are there supporting rally operations. I'd like to thank the police for their close cooperation with us. I think a lot of the issue with regard to the number of individuals who were spilling onto Anchorvale Crescent arose from the muddy field. So when people walk into the muddy field and they are already, it's really difficult to walk. They don't want to move further, some of them, and so we had to, on a few occasions, come to the rostrum and just invite people to move further into the field.
Do you expect that turnout and how do you read into it?
Well, this is like asking me, how do you think polling day is going to turn out? I don't know. That's the reality, right? But we know Workers' Party rallies tend to be well attended. And my plea to all the people who come and attend our rallies is to be safe and look after the person on their left and right. I think that's very important. But I thought the crowd was fantastic. I thought they gave great support and they looked after one another. And I think that's what we expect from Workers' Party supporters.
Mr. Singh, do you expect your gambit to be successful if you have communicated more with the other opposition parties? Do you expect this backlash right now?
Firstly, I don't see so much of a backlash. I see more understanding as the days go on. And I think that reflects the sophistication of Singapore voters. Number two, I don't agree it's a gambit. We, as I have alluded to before, we are a small party. We have to strategize how best we can achieve the outcomes we want. And that's what we did.
Given that you have spare candidates, couldn't you have put some of the spares, in Marine Parade, given that there's so much groundwork that's already been done on the ground?
Well, spare candidates are there so that if there's something that happens to the main teams in the run-up to the elections, there's a prospect of them potentially replacing the original slate. But if you put the spares in another team, what that means is you don't have any spares left. And you have to live with the reality of being incredibly overstretched. And I don't think that's wise from a small party's point of view.
Can you give us a sense of how much more, in terms of resources, do you need if you were to contest in Marine Parade GRC?
A lot more resources. I mean, you've seen how the constituency looks. You've seen what has happened after the EBRC report was released. One new constituency plus additional elements from other areas. That's a lot of work to cover in 1 month. And we've been there for 5 years, and that already was a stretch for the party in terms of covering the other wards in Marine Parade. So you can imagine how much work was required. I mean, if you are of the school of thought that you don't need to do any groundwork and you can just show up wherever you want, that's not a view that is shared by the Workers' Party.
Morning.
Yes, morning, Daryl. I remember you, Daryl.
Yes, PM Wong yesterday in his first rally, after we said that there's already a sizable opposition in the parliament right now. And he asked the voters to actually not give the opposition the free pass to Parliament and to take same standard as PAP MPs
Yes.
with the the candidates of WP.
Yes.
So how do you react to this, and how do you think WP's candidate size up you PAPs?
It's actually it's a good question. I can understand why the Prime Minister would have that view. He wants as many of his MPs in Parliament as possible. So I think it's natural that he would say that. We've put out our vision of at least 1/3 of the MPs in Parliament being opposition MPs. So we have a difference of opinion there as to what is sufficient at this point in time in terms of the evolution of our political systems. But I would share with the voters that when you compare people, you are comparing a WP slate that is going to compare against the PAP backbenchers. So it's backbencher versus backbencher, because the Workers' Party are not going to be in government. So what my proposition to voters to consider is to understand that backbencher for backbencher, you've got a serious choice there. And the Workers' Party has put forward a serious slate of individuals so that Singaporeans can consider their choice carefully. And I respect whatever choice Singaporeans make. The whole Workers' Party will do so. Yes, sir.
Presiding from Mediacorp Malay News. If we can talk about GRC, Tampines GRC, WP plays Zaman
Yes.
against Minister Basagus.
Yes.
And the GRC with the most Malay voters.
Yes.
Will the Malay votes be the deciding factor to put WP across the line?
Well, I can tell you something about our Malay voters. They're also very sophisticated voters. It's not just a question of a race matter. I think they're also concerned about national issues. What other things the WP can bring to the table. And I believe a lot of our voters accept that there must be a strong opposition presence in Singapore. Singapore is not weakened by it. Singapore is strengthened by it. And the Workers' Party has a certain approach that we take into politics. And I think the Malay voters are very sensitive and they are aware of what that approach is.
Mayuko Chan from UK, the newspaper.
I didn't get your name.
Mayuko.
Mayuko, thank you. Hi.
It's a follow-up to the earlier question about Marine Parade.
Yes, Mayuko.
You have the fantastic lineup of the new faces, new candidates. But what are you lacking to have more candidates?
Not enough more fantastic faces. Not enough fantastic faces. So we needed strong teams everywhere.
And what do you need to be strong?
Well, I think it's success begets success, right? And I think when people see that the Workers' Party are serious, they've made contributions. Improvements is relative. We've made contributions in Parliament. They look at their towns. They see that their towns are run like any other town. You come into Aljunied, you come into Sengkang, you don't know what's the difference between a PAP ward and a WP ward. And I think as long as we continue in that vein with that trajectory, hopefully we'll attract more people to join us. More, in your words, fantastic people to join us.
How can you comment about this team?
I'll just take Afifa's question. Sorry, Daryl. Yes.
You were saying that if you compare the candidates as backbenchers,
Yes.
so what do you make of that? How do you tell the voters in the constituencies where you're protesting at that where the PAP has switched its anchor ministers
Yes.
across the island?
Yes. Well, I mean, the only GRC now without an anchor minister is Marine Parade GRC, right? And I think that transpired when they knew that there were no more Workers' Party. There was not a Workers' Party slate that was going to Marine Parade. But ultimately, the voters can see there are 26 candidates. So these candidates will be backbenchers. If they have the privilege of serving the constituencies, the residents where they have put in their nomination for, they will compare with, they will have to assess their role in terms of backbenchers in the larger schema of things in Parliament. In terms of the ministers, I can take the words from one of the PAP candidates in Aljunied. I mean, he said, we don't have an anchor minister, so we have more time on the ground. I'm not sure whether he fully understood the ramifications of what he was saying, because that means that in a constituency like Marsiling UT, for example, you've got office holders. How does that work out in terms of time on the ground? So in terms of the national posture, I believe Singaporeans should measure backbenchers versus backbenchers, because that's what the Workers' Party has put forward. And I think our backbenchers are really good.
Mr. Singh, I have some questions for you.
Yes. What's your name?
I'm Wan Hui from CNA. I have two questions for your response to Mr. Gomeng Singh's claims in his rally yesterday. So Mr. Gomeng Singh said WP chose to contest
I think I know what he said.
companies.
What I will say to that is very short. Mr. Gomeng Singh is Mr. Gomeng Singh. Nothing's going to change. So I'll leave it at that.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
could you just give your all your views about this slate and this East Coast GRC and the feeling Mr. Yee back in this East Coast GRC?
Yes.
Is it a consideration because he has been in Juchet and part of this very team last time?
That's certainly one of the considerations. But in terms of the rest of the slate, they are strong individuals who I think are prepared to work on the ground very hard. And that is what they will bring to the Workers' Party effort in East Coast GRC. I mean, ultimately, if we look back, what was Mr. Lau Tia Kiang known for? I mean, he set the tone. You have to be strong on the ground. And when you're strong on the ground, it's far more straightforward to get good work done for the constituents in the constituency. And I have no doubt that these 5 individuals, including Mr. Yee Jenn Jong, will do the same.
Mr. Singh, just following up from that.
Yes.
Which is the voters who might be disappointed that WP didn't move any heavyweight leaders to this particular team in this case.
I think Yee Jenn Jong is a party heavyweight. He lost by 388 votes in Juchet SMC. And what happened after that? Juchet SMC was gone. So I've got somebody with a load of experience leading the team. I've got someone who's got a very big heart. Many of you may not know this. Mr. Yee runs a charity called the Red Collective. And what he does is he collects food which is not sold, vegetables, it could be anything, fruits. I think the last time I was in Eunos Crescent, it was vegetables and fruits.
Yeah, that's right.
And he distributes it to the community here in Marine Parade and East Coast. I can't speak for Mr. Yee, but knowing him, he will continue his good work. And I'm quite sure that will be a big part of his outreach if the residents of East Coast give him the privilege of serving them.
Mr. Singh, there's a certain perception that your stronger teams are in Tampines and Punggol. What
Yes.
do you say of the profile of the candidates for East Coast right now?
Well, I believe it was ST themselves that had an analyst or a pundit who claimed that actually all of them are strong teams. So I would share that view. All the teams that are on the Workers' Party slate, East Coast, Marine Parade, I beg your pardon, East Coast, Punggol, and Tampines, they're all very strong. And notwithstanding, of course, the incumbent wards where we are incumbent. I didn't get your name.
Eva from Chapel.
Hi, Eva.
Just like you to share more about your campaign and rally plans for this weekend and the upcoming week to reach out to more voters.
Okay, we will update that in the next few days. The main reason is because I'm not sure whether there's a site which we are interested in which will have to be balloted. So at the risk of giving contradictory information, we'll just update the public at the appropriate time.
What about plans for this weekend?
Well, you will find out very shortly. Yeah, we prefer to see an organic crowd. So yeah, we don't need to sort of engineer a crowd. We will just go where we have to go, and we have to visit all the major areas like every other candidate, I'm sure, in the constituency. Hi, Ketika. So one of your colleagues said I should say Vanakkam. Go ahead.
So I was just wondering, please talk about today your thoughts and views about the East Coast president and how has it been
Sorry, my views on?
East Coast residents.
East Coast president so far?
Right. Well, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Sylvia and myself and the Aljunied team in the morning, we were in Serangoon North. And then Sylvia and I came over here at about 9:30. So I can't say I've done a walkabout here. I have spoken to some residents. It's a warm reception, but it's just a small sample. And we have to respect the fact that Singaporeans, when it comes to elections, they have the privilege of voting whoever they want to vote for. And we have to respect their vote. My value proposition and the team's value proposition to the voters in East Coast is please do your part and let's have a more balanced political system. Maybe I'll take one last question because the sun is starting to
More questions in
bias
other language.
journalists on this side. Yes, go ahead.
I was wondering if we could go back to deployments, and I think the only incumbent MP party of yours who leaked the final number.
Yes.
So what was the reason behind not putting like your star candidate Singh with him in the same team to try to?
I don't normally go into these sort of discussions in public. I think out of respect to for my colleagues. But generally, we think about these decisions very carefully. There's an election committee that deliberates these things, and we went through that process.
How long has all these discussions been for?
No comment. Certainly, things crystallize after the EBRC comes out. That's the reality of being in the opposition. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for your time this morning. My best wishes to all of you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chinese.
I beg your pardon.
wanna ask in
You want to
Chinese?
ask some questions in Chinese?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jasper, you want to give it a
Jasper?
你好，发频道新闻记者想跟你了解一下，今天你们大概几点经过来东海岸，然后跟选民接触的时候，他们最关心哪一些议题，哪一些问题？你们觉得公民党在这些方面，可以怎么样帮助选民在国会上发声？
好，谢谢你的问题。我们今天其实8点就过来了昨天也是，昨天更早，我们7点多就过来了。说看我们去哪里走动。我们其实如果在小贩中心这些走动的话，我们会比较早一点，7点多8点。其实我们今天走动时，很多居民表现出支持，跟我们说他们其实在东海岸集选区很习惯看到我们工人大家走动，因为我们其实在这边走动了有20年，2006到现在，这个是第5届参选，我们在工人党在东海岸集选区参选话题一样，经济压力了学生跟学业的问题了，对不对教育问题可能是因为我以前是前任老师，我比较注重教育问题，所以我们的话题自然而然变成比较关注教育也是家庭，因为我是3个孩子的父亲。可是讲真的，我觉得这个很像Pritam SG 讲的，我们很注重选民居民的选择，这是他们选择。我们如果选民愿意给我们这个机会，为他们服务，为他们效劳的话，投我们一票，我们会赴汤蹈火的为他们服务，这是我们的承诺，这是我们诚恳承诺。谢谢。
钟先生你好，可以就是分享一下你这次从退休复出来领军这个东海岸团队，然后是基于什么考量？还有对这次的这个选举有什么看法？
首先呢，是因为我还在党嘛，我还一直在帮这个党。其实我本来是调到那个彭榜儿区，是帮他们准备那个区。我本身呢是没有意思是要在那边参选的。不过当那个 EBRC report 呢出来的时候呢，党认为我有一些经验，我可以帮忙这个队员，而且我见了这些队友的时候，我觉得很放心，因为最重要的是，如果人民选了我们进来呢，我要有把握，这个我们的整个这个镇呢，我们要搞得很好，所以我对他们很有信心，我就说 OK， 我可以进来。
于先生，对你们在这一区的这个胜算，您觉得有多大呢？
其实我不要想这些东西了，因为呢，我已经是第4次参选了，是每次呢都是当你觉得很有把握的时候，最后呢很多东西不是由我们决定的了，而且呢这个大选的时间是太短了，所以很多东西都不是我们决定的。不过我很肯定的说，这个是一个很好的队，所以请相信我们，投我们一票。
先生，我也好奇，刚刚你在走动的时候，这里的选民他们主要关心些什么？那你跟他们接触的时候，你怎么样去说服他们投你一票呢？
他们所关心的是Jasper 已经有讲过的了，都是差不多一样了。其实新加坡人呢，很多都被这个生活的压力，还有那个经济了，有好几个人，因为我们是在小贩中心嘛，他们就指这个东西起价了多少了，已经起了1块多了，起了2块多，所以对普通的人民呢是很大的问题了。 But of course， 我们在我们的这个工人党呢，已经在国会上时常有发表关于那个 GSC 的问题，关于很多其他的，我们也有很多建议呢。你可以去我们的网上看我们的建议。所以呢，我们会尽量在国会替他们发他们的声音。But 就如Pritam Singh 刚才说的呢，你要看我们的 backbencher 和对我们 PAP 的 backbencher 和我们来相比，我认为我们是一个很好的队。第一，第二呢，我们呢是很有把握，我们可以管这个阵，所以相信我们。
你觉得你跟对手相比，你们的优势是什么？主要有哪些？
我认为呢，我们的虽然是平凡人，人家说我们比较平凡，不过呢，平凡人可以做不平凡的事，所以呢，这是我们的力量，我们的团队。而且呢，我已经问过他们呢，你一定要，如果我们赢了呢，我们不能让选民失望。你看 LG， 你看那个盛港区。我们赢了呢，我们需要真的投入进去经营，不然呢是搞不好的，搞不好呢整个党就影响整个党，所以呢这是我们的承诺了，我们呢是一定会在这边的，而且呢这是我的家，你这个巴山呢我已经时常来这里了，这是我的岳母的家，等一下搞不好了他们来骂我，不是更糟糕。所以呢，这是我自己的家，我一定会在这里的。
Encik Sufyan, saya resign dari Berita Media Corp. Mungkin boleh jawab dalam bahasa Melayu. Anda sebelum ni aktif di Kaki Bukit dan juga Ponggol.
Ya.
Jadi dalam masa kurang daripada 7 hari, 8 hari ini, bagaimana agaknya anda cuba untuk memenangi hati orang East Coast lah?
Okay, bagi saya secara peribadi, saya memang selesa di East Coast. Saya memang membesar di kawasan timur dan saya bersekolah di sini. Mempunyai ramai kawan di East Coast dan di Fengshan sini dan mempunyai banyak kefahaman tentang isu-isu yang dihadapi oleh penduduk di sini. Jadi dibandingkan dengan tempat yang saya berjalan di Ponggol dan juga sebagai sukarelawan di Aljunied, sejujurnya saya memang lebih selesa di sini.
Kalau disebut tentang isu-isu Melayu Islam yang mungkin anda ingin perjuangkan, apa agaknya untuk penduduk East Coast?
Saya rasa pengundi Melayu Islam yang sophisticated seperti Cik Pritam Singh cakap tadi, dan isu-isu yang dihadapi oleh masyarakat kita lebih kurangnya sama dengan seluruh rakyat Singapura. Kos harga hidup, harga perumahan yang mahal, isu pelajaran untuk murid-murid muda Melayu Islam kita. So secara keseluruhannya sama, tetapi ada setengah isu-isu yang lebih penting kepada masyarakat kita, dan saya rasa parti kita, posisi kita terang tentang hal-hal ini, dan kami sokong memberikan suara untuk rakyat menyuarakan perasaan mereka di medan public lah, so we can discuss.
Soalan saya terakhir, mungkin orang akan bandingkan anda dengan mungkin Hazlina Halim yang lebih dikenali. Mungkin apa agaknya pandangan anda lah?
Saya rasa kami di sini sebagai pasukan, dan sama juga kepada sebelah PAP pun mereka berpasukan. Saya secara sejujurnya bila saya jumpa penduduk semalam dan hari ini juga, ramai yang menunjukkan sokongan untuk ada suara alternatif, dan saya rasa saya membawa ke sini sesuatu choice untuk membawa suara alternatif, dan saya rasa Cik Haslina pun membawa ke sini kekuatannya juga, dan saya trust penduduk Melayu untuk membuat pilihan yang tepat.
Maybe we'll have one last question in Tamil. That's okay.
வணக்கம் ரவி, தமிழ் செய்தியில் சொல்லுங்கள். 5வது முறையாக பட்டா அடிச்சவங்க இந்த இடத்துல போட்டிடுறாங்க. இந்த முறை வந்து சாதகமாக நினைக்கிறேன். இப்போ ஈஸ்ட் கேட் முறை போட்டிடுறேன். உங்கள் அன்னைக்கு வெற்றி எப்படி சாதகமாக நினைக்கிறீங்க?
வெற்றி அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். வெற்றி எப்படி சாதகமாக போதா என்னாலும் நமக்கு தெரியாது. அது வந்து கண்டிப்பாக வாக்களிக்கிறவங்களுக்கு பொறுத்து தான் இருக்குது. நாங்கள் ஆனால் எங்களால் முடிஞ்சது கண்டிப்பாக செய்வோம், செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு தான் இருக்கோம். 20 வருஷமாக செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருந்திருக்கோம். இப்போயும் கண்டிப்பாக நம்ம தொடர்ந்து செய்வோம். ஸோ மக்களை நம்ம வந்து பேசி அவங்கக்கிட்ட பேசி என்ன அவங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை அதெல்லாம் கேட்டு எங்களை தேர்ந்தெடுத்தால் கண்டிப்பாக அவங்களுக்கு குரலாக நாங்கள் இருப்போம் நாடாளுமன்றத்தில்.
மக்களுடைய கருத்து எப்படி இருக்கு நீங்க மைசூர்?
இப்போதைக்கு வந்து எல்லாம் நல்ல விதமாக தான் நம்மக்கிட்ட அணுகுறாங்க. அதே மாதிரி சொல்கிறாங்க என்னென்ன பிரச்சனை ஓடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கு. பொதுவாக வந்து வாழ்க்கை செலவின பிரச்சனை அதுதான் மிகவும் முக்கியமாக ஒரு பிரச்சனையாக இருக்கிறது. ஸோ அதை நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். எங்கே பார்த்தாலும் அதுதான் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
தேசிய பிரச்சனை உருவாக இருக்க இந்தியர்கள் குறிப்பிட்ட பிரச்சனை நீங்கள் தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டால் கொண்டு செல்வீங்க நாடாளுமன்றத்தில்?
அது வந்து என்னென்னு சொல்கிறேன்னா நம்பராக வந்து எத்னிக் கோட்டா இருக்குது HDB வீடு வாங்குறதுக்கு. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது அவங்க வந்து அவசரமாக வந்து வீடை விட்டு போகிற நிலைமையாக இருக்குது. ஏன்னா அவங்களுக்கு வந்து கொடுக்குற டைம் ஃப்ரேம்னால. ஸோ அதை ஒன்று செய்வேன். மற்றொன்று வந்து தைப்பூசத்தை திருப்பியும் பொது விடுமுறையை கொண்டு வரதுக்கு முயற்சி செய்வேன்.
உங்கள் அணியுடைய வெற்றி புது அணியாக இருக்குது எப்படி பார்க்குறாங்க
யார் மக்கள்? புதிய அணியாக இருக்கிறதுனால அவங்களுக்கு மேபி புது ஆட்கள் பார்க்குறதுக்கு மிகவும் சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. ஏன்னா என்கிட்டயே வந்து ஒரு 16 வயசு கொடியன் அவர் வந்து என்கிட்ட வந்து என் கூட நான் படம் எடுக்க முடியுமா? அவர் வந்து தமிழர் இல்லை, ஆனால் வேற மொழி. ஆனால் அவர் வந்து அந்த மாதிரி கேட்கும்போது நம்மளுக்கு தெரியுது நம்மளையும் எல்லாம் பார்க்குறாங்க, நல்லா தான் பழகுறாங்க. கண்டிப்பாக எங்களோட குழு வந்து சரித்தனம் செய்யணும்னு நான் நம்புகிறேன். எனக்கு ரொம்ப பெருமையாக இருக்குது. சிங்கப்பூரின் சிங்கப்பெண் என்று நான் நம்புகிறேன். தேங்க்யூ.
All right, thank you everybody. Thank you for your patience here. Yeah. All right, I know it's very hot. Thank you. All right, see you again.
Thank you.